I thought I was just being responsible with money. But what I was really doing was trying to make sure we'd never run out again. But where did that need come from? That quiet pressure to always be prepared? I didn't even realize it was still with me. Do you ever feel like money is controlling you, no matter which side of the spectrum you're on? Perhaps you find yourself overspending, stocking up on supplies when you hear about rising costs. Or maybe you spend nothing, holding on tightly to every dollar out of concern for the future. Or maybe you purchase little things here and there, not realizing how quickly it adds up just to lift your mood. Or on the other hand, you might find yourself buying luxury items to keep up with your neighbors on social media, convincing yourself it's what you need to stay ahead. All of these behaviors stem from feeling of lack, scarcity, a sense of being less than, or unresolved childhood issues surrounding money. They're deeply connected to how we grew up around finances. And for me, it started early. And maybe it did for you too. I realized recently how my own childhood experiences have shaped my spending decisions. Let me share with you how I'm learning to break free from these patterns and create a healthier relationship with money, and how you can too. So stick with me to the end, and I'll also share a resource I've been working on that's helped me shift my mindset and might help you too. And if this speaks to you at all, I hope you'll subscribe and be part of the journey with me. Your presence here means a lot to us. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. We lived in a world where resources were limited, and that mindset has stuck with me throughout my life. I remember sleeping with a hat on in winter because heat was expensive. There was always food in the house, but not always enough for seconds. When I'd ask for anything, my parents would often say, "We can't afford that. There's no money." My parents worked very hard, and we had the basics: a roof over our head, clothes, food to eat, and heat, just not always warm enough. We wore a lot of sweaters and layers. While we didn't have a lot of material things, there was a lot of love in our house. But as a child, you start to notice when you have less than others. You begin to feel that impact of being different when you hear your parents constantly discussing financial limitations. It leaves a mark. I also shopped at the Salvation Army for many of my clothes, and there's nothing wrong with that. We still do. But I was teased by other kids for it. I didn't have the same things they did, and it created a deep feeling of shame. Holidays were challenging too. I received maybe a few toys, but what stayed with me most was going back to school and hearing what everyone else got. It made me feel that what we didn't have felt bigger than what we did have. We ate MREs from the military that my dad brought home as frozen TV dinners. And while I know we were doing the best we could, there was always this quiet, constant reality. We were doing our best, but it might not be enough. I didn't know it at the time, but these moments were shaping how I'd spend and save for the rest of my life. And this isn't just nostalgia. This shaped how I approach budgeting even now as a parent and provider. Maybe you have a story like this too, something that still echoes in the way you spend or save today. Recently, I found myself considering purchases to prepare for potential economic shifts. This wasn't driven by fear, but of a mindset that was taught to me from a very young age. I was raised to think several steps ahead, to assess risk calmly, and to be prepared for any situation. The idea wasn't to panic. It was to plan with purpose. So for me, buying ahead and staying stocked up is less about anxiety and more about reducing stress later by thinking ahead now. But even still, I've had to ask myself, am I making these decisions from a place of peace? Or is there a part of me still trying to prove I'll never be without again? That question stopped me because I wasn't sure of the answer. We also navigate a unique challenge with my son who has autism and a significant sensory sensitivities when it comes to food. With many neurotypical children, there's often a belief that if they get hungry enough, they'll eventually eat what's offered. That doesn't apply to my son and to many others. If the food presented isn't one of his safe foods, he simply won't eat. Not out of stubbornness, but because of real sensory overwhelm, regulation issues, and anxiety around food. We've seen him go without meals when nothing on the table felt safe, and if we push, it only makes things worse. So having the specific foods he can tolerate isn't about preference, it's about his survival. That means buying certain brands, stocking up when they're available, staying ahead. These aren't always budget-friendly choices, but they're non-negotiable for his health. Budgeting in our case isn't just about being careful with money. It's about making sure that essential things he needs are actually there when he needs them. This isn't budgeting theory. This is what survival looks like for families like ours. If this is resonating, feel free to subscribe or leave a comment. It really helps support the channel and lets me know that this matters to someone else too. What I've been reflecting on lately is this: preparedness and scarcity aren't the same thing. A lot of budgeting advice talks about saving money or being frugal out of fear, and that's never been what motivates me. For me, it's not fear, it's awareness. I'm aware that the cost of basic needs is rising. I'm aware that access to certain foods, especially the ones my son depends on, can change quickly. I've lived through lack, I've lived through scarcity, and I never want my children to experience that same kind of uncertainty that I did. So I do buy ahead. I stay stocked, not because I'm scared, but because I want to be ready if the things we depend on become harder to find or harder to afford. It's not panic, it's peace through preparation. I want them to grow up knowing what enough feels like, not what it's like to fear not having it. I didn't just want to be aware of my patterns. I wanted to actually change them. So I'm creating something that is helping me a lot. This journey is what's inspired me to create something that I'm calling From Chaos to Calm. It's a gentle budgeting and planning toolkit. It's still in progress. But my goal is to create a resource that is blending budgeting tools with emotional check-ins. And it's not just a place to track spending, but a place to allow you to slow down, notice what you're feeling, and connect to your financial decisions with the life you're building. As I've worked on it, I started reflecting on where my money habits actually came from. Childhood moments resurfaced, patterns I hadn't even realized were still guiding me. This toolkit is helping me shift from reaction to intention. And honestly, I wish I had the foresight to ask myself these questions earlier in life. Maybe I wouldn't be in the financial situation that I'm in now. But it's never too late to begin again with more awareness. And that's what I want this toolkit to offer. Not pressure to do budgeting right, but a place to feel supported while you figure out what works for you. Not to control my spending, but to understand it and heal what was underneath. I'm almost done with it, and I'd love to know in the comments if this is something you might find helpful. I'd love to offer it to everybody here as a way to check it out and let me know what you think. So if you've ever felt the weight of financial uncertainty or the pressure to always be ready for your next problem, you're not alone. Many of us are walking this line between preparedness and peace. And the good news is we get to change the script. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Did your upbringing shape how you think about money today? And are there patterns that you're still trying to change? Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in the From Chaos to Calm budgeting and planning toolkit. I'm doing my best to have it finished this week or next, and I'd love to share it with those of you who might find it helpful. And if this video resonates with you, I'd be so grateful if you take a moment to subscribe, like, or share. It truly helps support this channel and allows me to keep creating content for families working hard to live with intention, budgeting well, and finding peace with money. Every subscriber and comment truly makes a difference. Thank you for being here today. You being a part of this journey means more than you know. And remember, you don't have to fix everything overnight. Even the small, steady shifts in how you think about money matter more than you realize. You're doing better than you give yourself credit for. Until next time, bye.